Artifact Lancea. Why now? Why is everyone seemingly using Artifact Lancea, especially for Stage 2 of the Duelist Cup? And if we click on the search on masterduelmeta.com and we type in hand trap, it is not one of the most popular hand traps. These are it's not even in the top 10. Artifact Lancea all the way down here, and now it is skyrocketing to the top within this event. Now, before we get into why and how to use it efficiently yourself, we are doing a $100 giveaway. Like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Also, go to twitch.tv/Dkayed. You can click on the link in the pinned comment. Follow me on Twitch, and you will be entered in the giveaway. Let's do this. In order to understand why Artifact Lancea is now being used, we have to first establish how the game is being played. This is the tier list, and let's look at the most popular cards in the game. You have cards like Ash Blossom and Max C. Now, what's very popular in this meta right now is if you go first, you win. Why is that? Well, even if you have Max C to stop your opponent from special summoning a bunch, your opponent is definitely going to, you tell me, they're going to have Call by the Grave, they're going to have Crossout Designator to stop your Max C, and if you're really unlucky, they're going to have Ash Blossom also to stop you. Well, what do cards like Called by the Grave and Crossout Designator do? They banish to stop you from stopping them on their first turn. It's not good enough that they won the coin flip and you'd have a hand trap to stop them a little bit. They need to stop you from stopping them to get that auto win. So Lancea has been, at the moment in the Duelist Cup, being the great equalizer, where you need Lancea plus your own hand trap. So if you open up the Ash Blossom or a Max C, even an impermanence during your opponent's first turn, which cannot be stopped by Call by the Grave but could be stopped by the Crossout Designate, now when they try to stop your hand trap, people are using the Lancea to stop them from stopping you. What's very important about this card is that it can only be used during the opponent's turn. So I'm going to give a quick example of how this would work. The opponent goes, you Max C, they chain Called by the Grave, you then chain the Lancea to the Call by the Grave, and now your Max C resolves. Now there's actually an extra layer to what is happening here. You Max C, they Call by the Grave, you then use your Artifact Lancea, and because Lancea is becoming more popular, the turn 1 player is also using Lancea. So what are they going to do? They're going to now need Lancea in their deck to use Crossout Designator to negate your Lancea by banishing a Lancea. Now, what other use does Lancea have besides being able to ensure that your own Ash Blossom and your own Max C goes through and does not get negated on the very first turn? What we're gonna have to do is type in the word banish, and we could see the most popular cards here. What is really good that banishes? You could, of course, use Lancea against Access Code Talker. They now cannot wipe up your fields. You can use the Lancea preemptively before the Celestial activates, so you will want to toggle on, then use your Lancea in the draw phase or the standby phase before they activate Celestial, draw 2. You will also, most likely, I'm going to say, if you go first and you have Lancea, you possibly should just shotgun, use your Lancea with toggle on right away. That's going to stop cards like Pot of P. As you can see on this card, it's most used in floowandereeze, Eldlich, and Dinos. If you shotgun your Lancea, you're also stopping one of the most popular cards in the game, which is going to be the Water Enchantress. If you wait for the Lancea, they're going to banish the Water Enchantress as a cost, and then it is too late to use your Lancea. They're not going to be able to use their Pot of Desires. That's also a very big deal. To further extend its use, we have cards like Pot of E, which has to be used at the start of the main phase. So if you shotgun the Lancea, no Pot of E, and the Evenly Matched is becoming a lot more popular in this event to break the field. People are playing Lightning Storm, they're playing Droplet, they're playing Dark Lord No More, they're also playing Evenly Matched, and you are going to be able to stop Evenly Matched with your Lancea. And as we go further down in popularity, we now have the tenyi cards. Vishuda being able to spin any card in the field back to the hand. If you are going to preemptively use your Lancea, as soon as they have a non-effective monster in the field or used it earlier in the turn, you can completely shut down a deck that, like a tenyi, Sword Soul tenyi, from using their Sword Soul plays. Now, one of my favorite uses of Lancea right now is to completely shut down a floowandereeze deck. Now, it doesn't completely shut them down, but it stops them a lot. Most of the floowandereeze monsters, when they leave the field, they get banished. Instead, they're going to go to the graveyard, so you cannot recycle your Rabina and your Eglin. Their magnificent map, they're going to lose their double summon. They're not going to be able to banish to search for the Eglin or the Rabina. Now, not only does the Lancea stop the inherent banishing of the floowandereeze deck, but they play other cards that also banish. So if we click on Rabina, click on the floowandereeze deck type, we're going to be greeted with the way that most people are playing floowandereeze. Non-floowandereeze cards that banish will be cards like Pot of P, as we talked about earlier, and even cards like Dimension Shifter. You Lancea the Shifter, now you're not going to be stopped from using very good cards like maybe your Effect Veiler. Let's type in Hand Trap, be able to use Veiler that has to be sent to the graveyard. You'll be able to use a card like the Ghost Ogre that must be sent to the graveyard. A card like Ash Blossom does not need to be sent to the graveyard, so even under Shifter, you will still be able to use it. Now let's take a quick look at the top tier decks and how Lancea can affect them, in addition to already discussing floowandereeze and using the Lancea inherently against the Call by the Grave and cross out Designate. If we click on the Adventure Prank Kids deck type, we're going to be greeted with the deck type page and how people are playing this. If you have the pro version of the website to remove ads, you can also see tournaments only, which is going to be a little bit better, I would say, on how the deck's being built, but don't worry, I'm showing it to you right here. What I like to do is I would type in the prank deck type in the card search filter, click on Adventure Prank Kids, and then I'm going to search for the word banish. Then we could start talking from there on what cards banish and what we could stop. The Lancea is not going to stop the Meow Moo. It will stop the Water Enchantress. It will stop their Call by the Grave. They're not going to get the effect of Roxy's to summon a monster from the deck and banish a card from the hand to then draw. You could also, if they try to make an access code talker play, you'll stop that. And then the Celestial, it will deny them from drawing two if you use it preemptively. And then, of course, the Crossout Designator. But as for that, that's not a massive impact on this deck, more so ensuring that your Maxi and Ash Blossom go through against a potential Crossout Designate or a Called by the Grave. Now let's quickly check out the Adventure Phantom Knights. Adventure Phantom Knights deck type page. This is how the deck is being played. Now let's click on the search to see what banishes and Adventure Phantom Knights cross out. Water Enchantress, a lot of cards you're seeing being used across multiple decks. The Lancea will stop them from banishing the Searchwood Boots. It will stop them from being able to banish a card from the graveyard to summon their Scales from the grave. They can't use the Fog Blade to banish to summon a Phantom Knight from the grave. It can't search with the Cloak. Can't banish to send from the deck to the grave. There's going to be nothing to special summon with the Levy Air because they can't banish. And the same thing with the other Phantom Knight trap. They're not going to be able to banish to special summon. Now, I'm not trying to sell you on Lancea. I'm just telling you why everyone's playing it. This is the additional benefit of Lancea. I already told you the main reason why it's being played. We're going to continue by clicking on Sword Soul Tenyi Breakdown. This is how the deck is being played. Let's type in the Sword Soul. Make sure we get the Tenyi version. That's going to be the ideal one. Let's type in the word banish. Now, what is banishing here? The Tenyi cards like to banish, so stopping that's very good. The Taya needs to banish from the graveyard to summon a token to make a level 8 synchro. The Grandmaster needs to banish to be able to negate a monster on the field. Those are going to be the massive impacts right there. The Sovereign Cheng Ying is not going to be able to protect itself from card effect destruction. Also will not be able to trigger its effect. Again, only during their turn. You could use the Lancea to stop the Cheng Ying from banishing your field and graveyard. Let's keep on going on. Now we have top tier Virtual World. Here is the breakdown of how the deck is being played. The deck has adopted the Adventure Engine just like everyone else. And what's going to be good? The Qinglong's not going to be able to negate a monster you control on the field. They're not going to be able to banish the Chu-Chi nor the Zonwu from the graveyard to help make their big plays. This will summon a monster from the graveyard, completely stopped there. They're not going to be able to use the Juju effect to send a card you control to the graveyard. They can't use Vermilion Dragon Mech to pop a card on the field. None of your cards will be banished against a Shen Shen. They also can't summon the Shen Shen from the graveyard. The Fan Fan will also not be able to banish. The final deck I'm going to be covering will be Eldlich. Since Dragon Link is not as popular, the Adventure Tenyi, the Tenyi is not going to be able to banish. Let's hop into Eldlich right here. This is the Eldlich deck, and we could just right off the bat look at this. They're not going to be able to banish their Eldlixir nor banish their Haquero from the graveyard to be searching for the Eldlixirs or the Golden Lands. We are skimming what else likes to banish here. They don't really like to banish. Stopping Pot of E, that could be good enough on its own. If you shotgun the Lancea, now they can't Pot of E, that's great. And that is the video. Remember the giveaway. Like, subscribe, comment to be entered into the giveaway. Also, make sure to follow me on twitch.tv/Dkayed for the Sunday and Monday events. The most competitive Master Duel content around. Let me know how much you enjoyed a video like this. I generally want duels on the screen. I don't know how much you want me to talk to you. We talked about why people are using Lancea, how to use it against other top decks, and what else it's good for. Thank you very much. We out.